found it. Ma'am. Oh, I need EMS immediately. She's not breathing.
On the morning of Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, an unidentified man put on black shoes, black pants, a black jacket, and dark rubber gloves before disappearing into a wooded area adjacent to a popular walking trail at the University of Georgia campus in Athens. As one state prosecutor put it, the man was hunting women. Tragically, 22-year-old Laken Hope Riley headed out for a jog that morning on the very same trail. But that day, Laken's otherwise routine morning run ended in what can only be described as every parent's worst nightmare. Before we begin, we would like to express our sincere condolences to Laken's friends and family members.
Bro.
Laken was born on January 10th, 2002 in Marietta, Georgia, about 20 miles or 32 kilometers northwest of Atlanta. As a child, Laken was close to her three siblings and her parents, Allison and Jason. According to her friends and family, she was smart, bubbly, enthusiastic, and ambitious. Laken also attended church regularly and was passionate about helping those less fortunate than she was. As such, she volunteered and went on church mission trips whenever she could. Laken was also passionate about running, and she spent as much time as she could exercising in the great outdoors. With such a busy life, it was her way of clearing her mind and recharging her batteries. She often jogged with her friends, but didn't hesitate to head out on her own when their schedules didn't match up. Unsurprisingly, Laken was a member of the cross-country team at River Ridge High School in Woodstock, Georgia, where she grew up. After graduation, she attended the University of Georgia in Athens. Laken joined the Alpha Chi Omega sorority, got good grades, and had an active social life, and spent a fair amount of time jogging around the university's sprawling campus. She eventually joined in the nursing program at the Augusta University campus in Athens, just a mile or two away from the University of Georgia. Laken made the dean's list in early 2022, and with a loving family, tons of close friends, and a promising career as a nurse on the horizon, her future was brighter than ever.
Yo, bro, running was such currently in the W word. This guy, you're watching me in work, and it's 12 a.m. Oh my life, this guy's doing night shifts. Get a load of this guy. Yo, Ali, how does it feel to be employed, buddy?
Priority for Laken that she always found time to hit the trails, no matter how busy she was. And since she still lived in Athens, she usually ran at the University of Georgia campus like she did when she went to school there. The truth was that safety wasn't a big concern, even for an attractive young woman like her who often walked, hiked, and ran by themselves. The trails were well marked and close to a number of campus buildings. And in addition, there were usually other students on the trail, regardless of what time she went for her run. 22-year-old Laken sent her mother Allison the following text at 8:55 a.m. on Thursday, February 22nd of 2024. Good morning. About to go for a run if you're free to talk. She also called her mom just before leaving the apartment at 9:03. Laken arrived at the trailhead on the University of Georgia campus a few minutes later, wearing her standard exercise outfit, which was light-colored running shoes, full-length black tights, and a dark jacket. She was also wearing noise-canceling AirPods and a Garmin smartwatch that she got as a gift the previous Christmas. She had only been on the exercise trail for about 10 minutes when the otherwise idyllic morning took a tragic turn. At 9:11 a.m., she activated her phone's emergency function and called 911. However, she didn't say anything when the operator answered the call.
Clark County 911.
No.
Hello, this is Clark County 911. Hello, Clark County 911.
Is she dying?
Can anyone hear me?
Her mother, Allison, called and texted multiple times that morning, but Laken never replied or answered her phone. It just wasn't like her to go silent. Like many young girls her age, her phone was her lifeline to her friends and family. Even so, her mother assumed she was just having a good run and that they would catch up when she was done. But later that morning, Laken's roommates got worried when their calls and texts went unanswered as well. When her friend and roommate Lily Steiner used the Find My app on her phone, it showed that Lakin's phone was on her favorite trail.
Bro, I swear, girls that go to like, I don't know, these like posh schools, and you know how like they have like that like posh school like persona on their Instagrams. They're the best girls, bro. They're the most beautiful, the most smartest, the most everything, you know what I mean?
At the University of Georgia campus. Eventually, Lily, her roommate Sophia, and their dog Champ headed out to the trail to see if they could find her. They found her AirPods shortly after arriving.
Charitable, etc. a role model. Oh my God.
Lakin was conspicuously absent. They immediately called one of Lakin's roommates and asked if she had heard or seen her. But she hadn't. By then, everyone was starting to panic. At 12:07 p.m., more than 3 hours after Lakin left the apartment to go running, her roommate called the University of Georgia Police Department and reported her missing.
What the heck are you
Sergeant
talking
Kenneth
about?
Maxwell arrived at the trail a few minutes after the call came in. He followed the path Lakin would have taken on her run, and at 12:38 p.m., he discovered her lifeless body in a forested area near Lake Herrick. EMTs arrived shortly thereafter, but sadly they weren't able to resuscitate her.
Oh. No. Nah, allow it. Imagine saying to the family, it's right up here, bro, the dead body, if you want to see it. I actually wouldn't want to see it, bro. Nah. Yo, Jason, appreciate the follow. You know, how did they kill her? That's all I want to know. But the truck, they said lifeless body, man. Of course she's dead, bro.
I don't want to tell you yes or no because I don't have names. I don't know who anybody is. This is not a pretty serious incident.
Nah, mom. That's deep, bro.
With a murder and possible sexual assault on their hands, the University of Georgia Police Department immediately contacted the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, or the GBI, and asked them to send someone to help process the crime scene. The killer didn't leave any incriminating evidence behind, but the awkward position of Lakin's body, the red marks on her neck, and her disheveled clothing indicated that the perpetrator sexually assaulted her, or at least tried to. In the early going, it looked like it was a crime of opportunity and that the killer had acted alone and that Lakin was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Before her body was taken away, the technician bagged her hands in case she had any of the attacker's DNA under her fingernails. Later, the Athens Clark County coroner determined that Lakin's death was caused by blunt force trauma and asphyxiation. There was no evidence of a completed sexual assault. In other words, Lakin defended herself so fiercely that the attacker could not finish what he started. This was corroborated by GPS and biometric data from her watch. It showed that she was only on the trail for a few minutes, and then after that she moved 65 feet, or roughly 20 meters, into a wooded area adjacent to the trail. The data also showed that her heart stopped beating at 9:28 a.m. and that she was engaged in a fierce struggle for approximately 15 minutes before she died. Murder investigations often take years, but the hunt for Lakin's killer proceeded with unprecedented speed. On Friday, February 23rd, the day after her death, a young runner named Joseph Clementi called the police. As it turns out, he was running on the trail the morning she was killed. He told investigators about a suspicious man dressed almost entirely in black that just didn't look like he belonged.
You know, with me, when I hear things about blood, death, it makes you feel so weird. It makes you like start glitching out or something. I don't even know. It feels like my soul is like slowly leaving my body. Like, yo, sorry. Nah, this sounds mad. It sounds like on Cliff Arm, and on God though, this is how it is. If I see needles, even just, Yo, even just speaking about it is crazy.
There. It wasn't much to go on, but diligent investigators eventually found security camera footage that showed the man Mr. Clemente had described. He was wearing black clothes and a black Adidas hat, just like he had reported. The footage also showed him stuffing what appeared to be a jacket into a dumpster near the park just 15 minutes after Lakin was killed. Investigators retrieved that jacket and sent it to the crime lab to be analyzed. And, unsurprisingly, it contained Lakin's blood and a few strands of her hair. The GBI and the University of Georgia Police Department alerted local law enforcement agencies to keep an eye out for anyone who resembled the man in the video. The following day, officers patrolling a nearby apartment complex saw a Hispanic man wearing a black Adidas hat. The man gave the officers a fake ID card when they stopped to talk to him, but they eventually found out that he was an undocumented immigrant and that his real name was Diego Ibarra. He played dumb when the officers asked him why Lakin's hair was on a jacket in a dumpster near his apartment. But later at the police station, he admitted that his brother Jose was the man from the footage.
No way he puts it. No way he rats his brother like that. What are you watching? College girl goes missing. Days later, they find CCTV.
That's me and my brother. We were both together that day.
Okay, there's only one person in the video, so who is that?
En el video solamente tengo una persona. ¿Quién es?
Is that you or your brother?
Sí. ¿Es usted o es su hermano?
No, es de él.
It's him.
Him?
No, it's his brother. Sorry, about him. His brother.
Okay, I'm gonna rewind it and let him watch it again.
Usted va a ver otra vez.
And where is this?
¿Dónde es eso?
Why is this like hacker aimbot business?
It is in the trash can or the back over there by where we live.
And why do prisons always have these badass camera angles? I mean, not camera angles, cameras.
Yes, I did. Just give it a second. You'll still see him walk. Is that his hat?
Yes, it's my hat.
Okay, does he know what his brother is doing?
¿Sabe qué está haciendo su hermano?
Yo me estaba botando la basura. Yo sé, ahí te estaba botando la basura.
Looks like he's throwing something in the trash.
I feel like I'm hacking him.
Okay. And how does he know this is Victor?
I already have 3 a.m. I think he's trying to say it's 3 a.m. for him.
Because that's even that close.
Okay. Are these clothes that only Victor wears?
La ropa que usa Victor?
When officers returned to the apartment shortly thereafter, University of Georgia Police Sergeant Joshua Epps noticed a number of obviously fresh wounds on Jose's hands, lips, and arms.
Damn, everyone's live right now. God damn, after his 12 a.m. all the Americans go live. Wait, what? For Australia, it's 8 a.m. Literally just about to get on the bus for school. Yo, what? That don't even seem real, bro. School, you know. Serial killers are so interesting, They're such pricks too. Hola. He's so smart.
Policia. Hey. Policia, manos. He said unless someone's those, John's going to try and get it off. Hey, I need you to translate one at a time. Come here. Come to me. Come here. Who are you? I need to see his hands. I need to see his hands. Tell him to slowly get out. Ask him to leave anybody else.
What if he's sleeping naked, bro? See, this is why. No. Try to sleep naked, I'll be cooked. By the way, Wait, no, be right back. Just getting on the bus. I'm putting my AirPods in. I ain't say no more.
Later, investigators retrieved a number of selfies from his phone that showed him wearing the clothes that were nearly identical to those seen in the surveillance camera footage. They also found out that Jose Ibarra wasn't a U.S. citizen. And according to federal immigration law, he shouldn't have been in the country in the first place. Interagency background checks revealed that he crossed the southern border illegally and that he was apprehended by immigration enforcement officers and that they eventually released him into the United States.
So he wasn't even supposed to be there. He shouldn't have been there, and he wouldn't have killed her. Oh, it's so sad.
Jose wound up in New York City, where he was arrested for a number of crimes. In September of 2023, he was arrested and charged with a motor vehicle violation and endangering a minor because he was driving a scooter without a license with a child on the back that wasn't wearing a helmet. The following month, he and his brother were arrested in Athens, Georgia, and charged with possessing merchandise they allegedly stole from a local Walmart. Unsurprisingly, they failed to appear for their court date. Jose was arrested and charged with Lakin's murder in February of 2024. He was also charged with aggravated assault, intent to kidnapping with bodily injury, and tampering with evidence because he removed items from the crime scene that would have incriminated him in Lakin's death. While Jose Ibarra was in custody, Lakin's funeral was held on March the 1st at the Woodstock City Church in Woodstock, Georgia, about 90 miles or 145 kilometers west of Athens.
Imagine having 250
By some estimates, more than 1,000 mourners showed up to pay their respects. In the wake of the horrific crime, the U.S. House of Representatives passed the Laken-Riley Act on March 7th of 2024. The bill would have required federal authorities to detain undocumented immigrants arrested for burglary and theft. The prosecution and defense agreed to a bench trial in which a judge, instead of a jury, would decide the outcome based on the applicable law and the evidence and testimony presented. In another surprising twist, prosecutors said they wouldn't pursue the death penalty. With Athens Clark County Superior Court Judge Patrick Haggard presiding, the trial began in mid-November of 2024. By then, prosecutors had already put together a relatively strong case that included physical and DNA evidence, digital data, expert and eyewitness testimony, and footage from various surveillance cameras. On the other hand, the defense's case rested on its ability to cast doubt on the state's evidence and to present a plausible alternate theory.
You'll hear that someone in that video, in the so-called dumpster video, was wearing an Adidas hat. That's true. When they find that hat,
all right,
and specifically the hat that was tested in this case, it was worn by Diego Ibarra, not Jose Ibarra, Diego Ibarra.
The University of Georgia campus police sergeant Joshua Epps described the wounds he saw on Jose's arms the day after Lakin's death.
Did you observe any injuries to Jose Ibarra?
I did.
She died because she couldn't breathe.
What injuries did you observe?
He strangled her.
While speaking to him, I noticed on his right arm, his bicep, there was a scratch, which I identified as a potential wound. On his left arm, he had a forearm scratch, very similar, which in my mind, looked like fingernail scratches to me.
Oh, you're trolling.
While he was sitting there speaking to us, I also noticed on his left wrist, just below the palm, he had a puncture, maybe a half an inch wide, that through my experiences of playing sports in high
I just
school
read it.
And receiving the same injury from fingernails in football, I could see like wet flesh, like almost like it was fresh. It wasn't very old, possibly still irritated. And as he moved his wrists, when I was looking at them closely, I could actually see the liquid or I guess body fluids that would be in that cut, kind of reflecting with light.
Why is my
Next,
eye so
Georgia
itchy?
Bureau of Investigation forensic scientist Ashley Hinkle testified about the DNA found under Lakin's fingernails.
One male individual. Jose.
Hold on now. What about a new rule? If you murder someone, you get caught, you have to die. Imagine that. Is that not what the death penalty is?
Antonio Ibarra and Argenis Ibarra cannot be excluded from the YSTR haplotype from the right-hand swabbings and the left-hand swabbings. under the assumption no
Life for a
mutation
life.
has occurred.
Yeah, that should be the new law,
relatives
bro. Life
also
for a
cannot
life.
be
Call it
excluded.
that.
So paternal brothers
She drinking
share the
Mountain
same
Dew.
YSTR haplotype. Is that the word?
They should, unless there's a mutation.
It's
And
still
did you
done
actually
in some
see
states.
a mutation in this particular case?
Yes, there was a mutation in Diego Ibarra's YSTR profile.
And so because of that genetic mutation, were you able to exclude Diego Ibarra as the donor of the male profile underneath?
Small right, I agree with that.
Yes.
The prosecution wisely saved Miss Hinkle's testimony for the end of the trial because it was so damning and irrefutable. During closing arguments, defense attorney Caitlin Beck reminded the court that evidence which is open to more than one interpretation doesn't constitute proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
In the state of Georgia versus Jose Antonio Ibarra, count 1, malice murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty.
Ooh.
Count 3, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty.
Oh.
Count 4, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty.
Hey.
Count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury. I find the defendant guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault with intent. I find the defendant guilty. Count 7, aggravated battery. I find the defendant guilty.
His life is over.
Count 8, obstruction or hindering a 911 call. I find the defendant guilty.
What did you do for the 991? The 911 call?
9, tampering with evidence. I find the defendant guilty. Count 10, peeping Tom. I find the defendant guilty.
What does that mean?
I certainly will allow both sides to look at this if you want to do it.
Sobs were heard as the sentence was read, but true to form, Jose showed no emotion whatsoever.
That's what I was going to say.
Count 1, malice murder. I sentence you to life without the possibility of parole.
Wow.
After the trial, Georgia
Life,
Governor
no parole.
Brian Kemp described Lakin's death as senseless. He also criticized immigration policy. Georgia lawmakers passed a number of new
so
immigration
stupid,
laws
man.
after Lakin's death. One requires state and local law enforcement officers to check a suspect's immigration status when they are arrested or detained for questioning. As advocates of immigration reform are quick to point out, Jose Ibarra probably wouldn't have been in the country in late February of 2024 if the law had been passed earlier. On a national level, the Laken-Riley Act passed both houses of Congress and was the first bill President Donald Trump signed into law during his second term in late January of 2025. It mandates that non-citizens be detained without bond when they are charged or convicted of offenses like theft, burglary, assault, and murder. Laken's family eventually raised enough money to establish the Laken Hope Riley Foundation. The foundation supports existing organizations across the country that promote and advocate for women's safety issues and awareness. Convicted murderer Jose Ibarra is currently being held in the Georgia Department of Corrections Special Management Unit in Jackson, Georgia, about 70 miles or 112 kilometers southwest of Athens, where he killed 22-year-old Laken Riley.
Madness. Absolute madness.